All right, welcome. This is Circle Back About It, episode 2. I'm Ian. This is my co-host for today, Eric Curtin, aka Dubstep for Dads. Hey, Eric.
Good morning to all gamers.
Thanks for being on the show.
Of course. I love shows and I love being on them.
Do you really?
Once in a while, yeah. It's whatever.
Because
It's
it
fine.
seemed like it was like a little bit begrudging to be on a show, but you were excited about this show.
Yeah, this one, it seems fun. It seems cool. I love fun and cool things, so this is gonna be great.
We are fun and we're cool. We don't have a lot of things.
That's yeah. I don't know. It sounds epic.
Are you
though.
still okay with it though?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm down.
Could you maybe give like a quick introduction about who you are and why I'd ever have you on my show?
Well, I don't know why you'd have me on your show, but I'm Eric and I write stuff on the internet.
All right, cool, man. So for any new listeners, I'm Ian. I'm a music manager. I do a bunch of other cool stuff. And once a month, I sit down with friends and we talk about the happenings, the newest happenings in music and culture. Not necessarily music. It could be Twitter. You're the resident Twitter expert.
I do have an account. Also, really quick, I just want to apologize. I'm sick, and there's probably going to be a lot of sniffles and some coughing.
Okay,
but that's it.
Duly noted. What's up on Twitter? What's the haps on Twitter?
Well, it seems like a lot of people lately are posting.
Yeah, true.
I've noticed that a lot recently.
What are they posting about, Eric?
There's a lot of posting going on. A lot of stuff right now about the fall season. I'm sure you've noticed. A lot of people are talking about how the season is changing, which is very interesting. It's one of those things that happens every year. The season changes and people lose their shit. I actually saw like 30 minutes ago. Brian Silva.
Doesn't he follow you?
Oh no, I blocked him. I blocked him and unblocked him.
Why did you soft block Brian Silva?
Remember, like people thought I was running his account.
Yes.
Yeah. So I soft blocked him. So neither of us were following each other.
Why would people think that though? Because like I remember, but some of the listeners might not know. Exactly. Like you said who you were, and I was like, oh, you're Dubstep for Dads, but who exactly is Dubstep for Dads? Why would people maybe come to that conclusion?
Yeah, well, Brian Silva was following like 15 people. He's still only following 17, but he was following 15 people, and he quickly made this jump in his content from basically tweeting shit like, yo, who wants to see my monster 10-inch cock, to saying just like stuff that was like really, I'm not like other girls, I'm actually a guy. Hilarious. So he's like
comedy.
So he was like trying, or whoever's running his account, obviously I think someone is running his account. Whoever's doing that like made the switch to trying to get a bigger audience by doing comedy on Twitter. And because he was only following 15 people, me being one of them, I have a large comedy Twitter account. People looked at who he was following, and someone who has like a decent following on Twitter pointed out the fact that he's probably not writing his tweets, and like look at who he's following. So I saw like a couple people starting to say that they think it was me who was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And not that it's like a huge deal, but I didn't really want to be associated with it because I think his content like really sucks. A lot of people say...
Has he ventured into... Because I feel like a lot of times you had this kind of funny tweet the other day where like someone the first time they go viral. Where they're like, my new album. And I feel like that's true. We'll like post like a screenshot of the tweet, I guess, so people can see it.
Yeah. It was actually just, it was basically, the Backpack Kid?
Yes.
It was basically just his exact Instagram bio.
But yeah, I mean, I think as soon as someone does something like viral on the internet or whatever, the very first thing they do is try and monetize it. Their first idea is to like become a musician.
Yeah, it's very funny when someone goes viral by accident, and I mean like incredibly viral, because it's either this thing where they don't really engage with it and they're just like, something happened with me on the internet and it's just there and it exists now and it's, it belongs to the internet. Or the first immediate reaction is like, how do I monetize this? How do I stay famous forever off of this weird thing that happened to me? Like, you accidentally like fucking stole a penguin and you went viral and you're like, I'm gonna make a career out of stealing penguins, and it's, you know, or you just like give the penguin back. You know, that classic story of the stolen penguin.
Did you steal a penguin?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No, I just made that up.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh. Yeah, no, he tweeted, getting back to that, he tweeted, I want to cuddle and watch spooky movies with you, which is a very fall tweet because now that leaves are falling,
right,
it's time to watch spooky movies.
It's going to be any day now. I thought it would be sooner, but I'm surprised all of the cute girls on my timeline haven't changed their names to Spoopy.
Yeah.
Whatever their name is, but Spoopy. So it's like Sarah, but Spoopy.
Yeah. I honestly think a lot less people are going to do that this year because it's being...
You think that's out?
I think it's being made fun of a lot.
Twitter predictions from Eric.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'm not going to do it. I don't follow too many music people. So I don't see like...
I'm so glad I have you on my podcast.
I knew this was going to be a problem. I've like recently, I mean, I guess I can talk about, I feel weird speaking about this like community that I don't really know about, but
well, we're not presenting ourselves as experts.
Okay.
We're idiots.
Just talking about
stuff.
Oh,
we're
cool.
idiots who bought microphones.
Okay. As long as everyone knows that I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I mean, you're an idiot who's amassed a large following, and I'm the idiot who convinced you to be on here. So that's what you should expect for this episode 2 of Circle Back About It. We were talking a little bit about the whole Mac Miller Ariana Grande thing.
Indeed. And she just made a post like last night, I think.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
She returned. And I think just to boil it down, what I don't think either of us need to explain who Ariana Grande or Mac Miller are. If you should know who they are. If you don't, just look them the fuck up. Google. They're huge. Well, one is huge. The other one is now, unfortunately, deceased.
Indeed.
The narrative was basically what happened was Mac Miller died. I think we can confirm at this point from an overdose. I don't think that's alleged anymore. I think that's confirmed.
I believe so.
And then because he had dated Ariana Grande, a lot of people went on her timeline and commented that it was her fault, that she drove him to do this, despite a lot of friends coming out, personal friends of both of them saying, no, she was very involved in his sobriety. And also, regardless of whether she's involved in her sobriety or not, I feel like this narrative of like the Eve character, like Adam and Eve, the narrative is that it's the Yoko Ono thing. Is that it's called the Yoko effect. I believe it's actually like a term where it's like the woman is responsible for the man's like bad behavior, and that's like a really toxic thing. I don't really know exactly what she said in response though, but that was my takeaway, was that like that's really fucking whack. It's obviously not her fault. Obviously it has nothing to do with her. She's seemingly supportive of his sobriety and only helped. So
yeah,
I mean, I can't even imagine going through that for someone like her. But what did she say?
I don't remember. I just saw that she posted something. I was going to add on to that though, is that so many people have been saying how well he was doing also. Mm-hmm. And I feel like not enough people, you see tweets, every single tweet after it happened being like, check up on your friends, like depression is real and all this, and which is super important. It's very important, but not a lot of people were also saying like, hey, be careful with drugs. You know what I mean? This could easily have been a terrible, terrible accident.
Yeah. Well, that was what happened with Pete. Like, yeah. Like his family came out later and said like, no way. Pete was very depressed, but he was not suicidal by any means. This was an accident. And Ducky, you know Ducky?
I met her.
Ducky is this amazing producer DJ, and she's like really bringing things back to like rave roots. That's the best way to describe her. But she had she is sober, and she had a tweet basically saying like, if you're going to do drugs, get them tested. Be careful. You know, and she got some pushback on that. People were like, no, how about people just don't do drugs? And it's like, you know what, dude? People are going to fucking do drugs.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. So the best thing you can do is not create poor environments for that to happen and be ignorant and just say, well, people just shouldn't do drugs. Festivals should allow people to test drugs at their festivals. That would make for a more safe environment.
Right.
You know, I mean, people go, well, you're promoting the drug use. It's like, no, dude, that's going to happen regardless.
Mm-hmm.
You should create safe environments for things that are happening regardless. You wouldn't be like, you wouldn't by plotting out maybe like a drainage system for the road be like, well, you're promoting flooding. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's exactly a correct allegory, but it seems right.
Yeah. You know, with the whole thing with Ariana is it's so terrible. And it has so much to do with the fact that so many of her fans are very young people. And at this point, growing up with social media at like a young age.
Do you think it was her fans or Mac's fans, or do you think that it kind of matters?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't really think about that. I assumed it was her fans because...
That's interesting because I didn't. I assumed it was Mac's fans. But let's bring it back to Ariana so we can sort of like finish talking.
Yeah. Okay. So what I was gonna say before we got in depth with about what fans are saying stuff, it's so many young people who really don't care about what they're saying online because they kind of. I think it stems from them thinking that, you know, it doesn't really have an effect or, you know, they just want to be mean for the sake of being mean. It's super toxic with a huge fan base like that because the people who are like super supportive, not all of them are replying to you. But the people who are extremely negative and like terrifying are the ones who want to comment on your shit and make you see it. And like the fact is that celebrities do read their replies and comments and everything. And, you know, not all the time, but they definitely see that shit and it has an effect. And the crazy thing is that they're just saying it for no reason, or they're saying it because, you know, some of them actually believe it. There's definitely people who are like, oh, I firmly believe that she is like responsible for his death. But I think like so many do not actually believe that. And they're just kind of going along with what everyone else is saying.
I completely agree. And I think like half of those people, maybe more, I have no idea percentage. I'd say a high percentage, though, would do what I'm about to say. But if Ariana Grande would respond and be like, that's really fucked up to say, they would be like, oh my God, Ariana, thank you for responding,
Exactly.
Queen Mall. Like they would completely change their tone.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going.
They're looking for attention and they don't realize the consequences of the way they're going about it.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, I haven't really even thought about it like that, but it is really just looking for attention. They know that like the more extreme and harsh their comments are, that's what people are looking for. When they were going to her page days after that happened, everyone was browsing, looking for those replies just to be like, holy shit, do people really think this? And they're getting that attention. You know, people are replying to them. Yeah, it's terrible.
Right. And obviously that's not, you know, in a vacuum to Ariana Grande. It happens to small artists, to large artists. And it's not even like really fucked up things like you killed Mac Miller. It's smaller things like, like you're ugly or like you smell bad.
Yeah. With Post Malone, I tweeted about this recently. The amount of people that say Post Malone smells bad, like, dude, that is a genuine like human with real feelings, and you're just like saying that he smells bad so you can get like 40 likes on a tweet that isn't original.
Post Malone smells bad. Can we get 40 likes?
We can definitely get some likes on this one.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But that's not amazing. That's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad.
I just think like, hey, if you don't like his music, you know, make fun of his music or say that his music sucks. But like most of these people probably like his music. I think like
I love
like,
his music.
You know, 16-year-old girls who are like, Post Malone smells like cigarettes and French fries. French fries. I don't think anyone said. I think I just said that.
You just said that,
which is funny.
It is funny.
You know, he probably smells good. He has a lot of money.
I would imagine he smells
great.
He's sick, dude. I love his music. I think he's made a few stumbles. I think that quote in Fader was not a good moment.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's done some like dumb shit. So like,
Yeah.
if you want to talk shit about Post Malone,
No, I don't. I don't. We're not here to talk
No,
shit.
not
We're not
us.
here to talk shit.
I'm talking about other people who's like say, like Post Malone. I'm saying
That's
if you
where
wanna,
I was.
Yeah.
That's where I was going with this.
Yeah.
Right. That's where I was going with this. No one's perfect, and even the people who present themselves as perfect get made fun of the most. Right. Like Taylor Swift, who are obsessed with their image being like very squeaky clean. They get them made fun of because they're so obsessed with their image being squeaky clean. Like they get made fun of for not being a part of the conversation. So like if you're going to make fun of Post, maybe make fun of, the fact, I don't really know what the quote was.
Well, there was a lot in the Rolling Stone article.
Yes.
He said something along the lines of, if you're looking for deep, meaningful lyrics, like don't listen to rap music or something.
Right. Right.
Which like,
yeah, I mean, it's not an appropriate thing to say, especially if you're a white dude. I don't know if he's fully white, but if you're a white dude in hip hop, there's a certain semblance of like you need to be more respectful than the average artist of the craft. But yeah, dude, it's fucked up. He's a really dope artist. He makes really dope music.
Yeah.
He's going about it in a very interesting, I think, an innovative way where he's crossing all these genres and just putting out hits. Like he hasn't put out a bad song in my opinion.
Right. I agree.
And I think he said some dumb stuff. So I guess the point is like there's fruit there that is somewhat low hanging that you could go after. Go after that if you're going to hate on somebody. But like if you're going to I think there's two things that are takeaways from this. If you're going to hate on somebody because you actually dislike something they're doing. Don't hate on them because you think that other people will click on it. It'll give you some sort of attention, because what the fuck are you going to do with that attention? Like,
right.
Are you going to put out your own album? You going to put out your own merch? Like, are you going to backpack kid your Instagram profile? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like that's your goal. What is your goal with this? Like,
right.
So yeah, if you're gonna do that, then pick a good reason of something maybe not good that they've done to comment on. Because I think it's the message is not artists deserve like admiration only or celebrities or whatever. It's that if we're gonna have conversation, it should be proper conversation. It shouldn't just be shit post world, because like where the fuck does that leave us? But I guess where that leaves us is with someone like Tekashi. We got on the topic of Tekashi because of like I feel like that's what happens when there's like this shit post era. But like where I really wanted to go with it was that like the old guard of hip hop, I feel like has somewhat of a responsibility to pick and choose whom they are putting on. If you're really successful early in your career and you're putting out legendary stuff, which Kanye has and which Eminem has. Eminem had 4 slam dunks in a row, not singles, albums, like certified heaters. And now he hasn't. I mean, it's not as good. Like not even close. Whether it's good or not is a completely separate topic, but it's just not there. And when you're Eminem, not to take anything away from Eminem, he rightfully should be on everyone's top 10 list, like of best rappers of all time, because he's just that fucking good. But when you're that fucking good, you get graded on a curve and you're not allowed to complain about it. Like if Kamikaze came out and it was just some random person, everyone would be like, oh shit, cool. Like just some random kid from like the Midwest made Kamikaze.
Oh yeah. That would be a tweet.
Right.
And it would have 300,000 retweets.
Can we get 300,000 retweets on my tweet? Now that he's older, he's just regurgitating the same ideas. He's like a 45-year-old man who's still angry about 22-year-old shit. And it's just like, dude, this is I'm over this. I don't care about your message anymore. So like where I think people like him can succeed, and I think people, who are like the other older guards of hip hop or indie rock or whatever you want to make it be, is they put on younger people with fresher ideas. And so, why put on someone like Tekashi? Why not put on someone maybe more positive like a Young Thug?
Brockhampton?
Or Brockhampton.
That'd be sick.
There's countless ones that we can name that are fucking sick. This kid, Jack Harlow, that I just learned about.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's sort of like your responsibility to sort of say, like, I've got this huge fucking platform. People know and respect me because of what I've done. You don't need to get into an argument with Machine Gun Kelly. Like, you could be spending that time and energy doing something positive. A Thug actually sort of segues me into something completely different. But he was just featured on another person I think is kind of cool and coming up. Although he gets some weird shit talked about him that I've never understood why, but I don't understand why NBA Youngboy has a bunch of like memes about him that he's like soft.
I literally don't. I always hear people talk about this guy. I have no idea who he is.
Okay, so did I, and then I finally just like looked it up. And then of course I didn't actually get much research in before I found like he put out a new album. And on that album, one of the features was Young Thug. And what attracted me to the feature most of all was produced by this guy, Kenny Beats. And Kenny Beats has nothing to do with anything that I was talking about, although like he is a younger guy that's getting put on now. But he was this producer that was in a group called Loud Pack, which was like a full-on EDM thing.
Is that Loud Pack with a V?
Ah,
yeah. That sounds
so now
feels really familiar.
It should be. They were doing it. And now he's Kenny Beats, and he has cuts with Freddie Gibbs, with Key, now with Young Thug, NBA Youngboy. Like he's murdering it, killing it. There's no real point here. I just really wanted to shout out Kenny Beats because I think what he's doing is fucking sick.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy, like, some of these producers that are unbelievable producers. Like, EDM is not a waste of your time if you're a producer, especially if you're good at it. But it's good to see some people starting to really cross over. Like, and there's a lot of other producers that like are predominantly dance people crossing over. Cashmere Cat, I feel like, is one of them. Because he's just on everyone. Everyone has a Cashmere Cat cut. But it's really awesome to see, someone who had this really successful EDM career sort of shift over to and make, I guess, what he was feeling now at this point in his life.
Right. Succeed.
Yeah, and succeed. I think that's really cool. While we were on the topic of NBA Youngboy and Young Thug, I wanted to kind of go back to happenings on the Twitter timeline because there was this whole thing. I think someone else who sort of fits into that world is Smoke Perp. Mm-hmm. And there was this whole thing with him and Russ that was really funny.
Yeah. That's funny.
What happened?
I actually don't know like the exact timeline of things. I just like 2 or 3 days ago, it was all over my timeline that Russ had sent a couple of his people from his team or whatever to jump Smoke Perp, and like he got his ass kicked. Which I don't know. It just seems really funny because I just think it's really funny because like every rapper, Young Bands has been like one of the bigger ones that's doing it. They all just kind of clown Russ, and I think for good reason. I actually haven't listened to his music. I don't know. I probably should. I've heard that he makes decent music.
I've glossed over it, and here's my unpopular opinion, or maybe it's not unpopular because he sells a lot of tickets, so it has to be somewhat popular. Right. It's not. I don't remember any of it. I couldn't tell you any of like the songs off the top of my head, but they were all good.
Yeah.
Like whether you like it or not is a separate issue. But in terms of whether they're good or not, they're good. They're good, catchy tunes. So I don't know why he gets clowned, I guess, for being like sort of similar to like.
I think to me, as an internet person, this is what I see. Like 90% of the reason Russ gets shit on so much is because he really just says a lot of corny shit online. Like he really does. And I don't know if you've seen this. It's actually very interesting.
Do you think it's, and I have not seen his particular quote unquote corny shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen other accounts from large artists do it. And my initial reaction is, do you think it's actually Russ?
Oh yeah.
I follow a lot of DJs because I know a lot of DJs.
Right.
And I also had a lot of clients in the EDM space. That like big EDM Twitter and like Euro EDM Twitter, the Vegas guys, like the really, really, really big ones. And like Tomorrow World or whatever. Like some of their accounts are just atrocious. It's not them. It's so clearly it's not them. It's some person that they've hired to run it, and there's no voice behind it. There's no thought. There's no story. It's like some picture and like some pseudo positivity quote.
Right. So that's so much of that. And this is actually different. You know, those are like huge DJs who just like can't run their own socials. So they like hire someone to tweet some shit like, I only feel like myself when I'm with you. And it has 30,000 likes.
Right.
And it's super easy to do. And I hope those people aren't getting paid that much.
Do you? That's kind of mean. They have lives and jobs.
I do the exact same job,
right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, they're not doing a good job of it.
But I'm doing a better job.
You are.
Yeah. I sound like a dick. But I'm not sitting here writing 5-word quotes that don't mean shit.
Right.
And like, can't wait to find someone to stay up late with and talk about aliens
and wear a big hoodie.
Yeah, and wear a big hoodie because
Who is that kid?
The fall season is coming.
Who is that kid that everyone was clowning and he kept? It's probably not one kid. It's probably a lot of kids. I hate college Twitter so much. That's a very college Twitter thing to happen.
The whole fall thing is really happening in college Twitter right now.
Explain very briefly what college Twitter is, because I don't think that's pretty deep. I don't think a lot of people are going to know what college Twitter is.
So I'll basically explain college Twitter.
Right.
It's just like, a guy or a girl that is currently like at a university, often in a frat or sorority. And you can tell that by their profile. Just like, if it could be a guy wearing a basketball jersey with his arm around another guy, and they clearly have had a couple beers, which is fucking sick, honestly.
That's awesome.
And then, it'll say like what college they're in their bio. Like their header will be like a picture that was taken at like a party that they had in the yard. And it's like, whatever. Within these communities, there's like really big opportunities for dumb shit that is relatable to college people to go viral because you feel like you're a part of like a community. So like when some other college guy or girl sees this tweet that's like the walk of shame, which is like a thing you do.
Right.
That's the classic thing. You see like a tweet that's like vaguely funny that has to do with that, and you're also in college, and even if you haven't experienced it, that this is something I could experience, you feel like you're a part of that. And it creates like much more of a reason to share it
because it's relatable content.
Yeah. So
it's the most vanilla of relatableness.
Yeah, and like there's no like underlying joke or irony in it, and it's so stuff like that. So stuff in college Twitter can move very quickly throughout Twitter because people like to feel like they're a part of something and they're sharing something else from someone who's also in college.
Is this why Russ is getting clowned because he sort of tweets like that?
Not exactly. No, not like that. I wish I could come up with some shit that he said. Oh, well, one example. So, he's been fighting with Adam 22. Have you been keeping up with this?
I have not, but
okay.
but good.
So they were arguing.
Adam 22, he's a internet celebrity. He runs a podcast as well called No Jumper. He used to be very heavy into the BMX community and sort of still aesthetically is. But long story short, Adam 22, as far as I can tell from my own minimal research, got deservedly Me Too'd. But of course, his fans are all 14-year-old boys who don't care about that, so it really didn't affect him or his world. It should also be very quickly noted, the reason we're talking about Adam is that he's very heavily involved in this world of like up and coming hip hop. He interviews
He's put like a lot of people on.
He's put a lot of people on with his platform, people like Smoke Perp, and NBA Youngboy and Lil Pump. Those are the most frequent people on his show. Go on.
True. So here's where this argument started. Adam, a couple days ago, 3 days ago, tweeted, Russ sent 3 big ass dudes to my store to jump me 6 months ago. They waited around till I went to get a manicure and I was alone. Dude punched me once.
Detail.
Yeah. I mean, shout out manicures.
Dude,
I haven't
manicures
got
are
one
tight.
yet, but I fucking want one.
You want to
so
go get one
bad.
after the show?
I don't have any money. Unless I'm being paid for this.
You're not.
As expected.
You're not being paid for this. You're not being paid for this.
It's fair. I don't deserve it. Dude punched me once and ran. The guy ran. I didn't even know who it was from until Russ bragged about it on AK's stream. Is that academics? I don't know.
I guess so, yeah.
That ain't tough. And tagged Russ. So then they just like start arguing. But so for example, of some like lame shit that Russ would say, it's like super along this vein. Someone responded to Russ and said, so you didn't go throw hands with him and sent multiple dudes instead? Why exactly? And he quote tweeted it and said, because rich bosses don't get their hands dirty.
Yeah.
That's some fucking lame
Yeah,
shit.
it's pretty lame.
That's an example of some lame shit that Russ would say. And he's said other stuff like that before that's like, you know, not the exact same thing, but like similar stuff that kind of just makes him sound like an idiot. And he like really talks himself up, which is like, I don't know, be humble. You know, he's selling, he's doing good.
He's doing really well.
I think he's doing really well.
No, he's
so just,
he's
be
selling
humble.
a lot of tickets, dude.
Yeah.
And presumably records as well.
Yeah.
Just like looking at his streaming numbers, he's doing well. He's got fans. But yeah, I agree. That's a weird attitude. And actually, you know what? I think this is all fair now, because what we were talking about with like someone like Post Malone is like clown them for like the stupid shit that they're doing.
Right.
And I think that's a fair thing to clown Russ about.
Totally.
You know, like
dude,
like
he
if you're
isn't
gonna
hiring someone, but he's someone who should have hired someone to do his social.
right. If you're gonna write a tweet that says like big bosses don't get their hands dirty, like you get you get clowned. That's the way it is. And I think like you also are gonna get clowned if you like then if your reaction to all of this is to send people to beat people up on your behalf. Like that's a way overreaction. I am not Russ, clearly. If I were Russ, or if I were advising Russ, I'd say, dude, like lean into it. The only way people will think you're cool at this point is if you just like accept the joke and just be part of the joke. I mean, I feel like people do have like harsh opinions on Russ, but how much of it is really real? Most of it's just people joking for attention. So just lean into it. Just be like, yeah, you know, I'm soft, whatever. I'm out here getting this money. But people will be like, all right, Russ.
Yeah.
You know, like, what else are you gonna do at that point?
Yeah, I think he would have more fans if
I think
he
he'd
just
have a
leaned
positive
into
reaction.
Yeah.
You know who else is epic? Patsu.
Yeah. I found him.
Wyatt showed me Patsu.
I found him on my own, just like going through some sort of Spotify.
Explain who Patsu is for the listeners.
It's lo-fi hip hop radio, beats to relax -- study to.
Perfect.
And it's epic as fuck.
But anyway, if you go, you should just check out Patsu. Don't do the roundabout way of doing it, but check out both of these things because they're both great. But it is sort of like that. I feel like it's in the vein of like, you know, like early, like it's like Jay Dilla. It's everyone who's trying to be Jay Dilla, who's like an early, amazing lo-fi hip hop producer, who predominantly made stuff on like 808s and like machine stuff instead of like a computer. But his music's just really relaxing, and he sort of incorporates like jazz piano into it, and
Yeah, he's definitely my favorite artist right now. The other night, I was drunk and my friend was driving me around. I put on Patu and like I was trying to explain like how much like this album, like his last album that he put out, Just Friends is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to explain like how like special it was to me, and like I probably sounded like a fucking idiot. I mean, I was very drunk too, but like what just like such a good album. I mean, it's incredible. And then I fell asleep to it. And I think he's super funny too.
Yeah.
Like I don't know him that well, but yeah, I like have started, from Wyatt, my roommate.
Wyatt is another artist who sort of makes beats to sleep and study too.
Yeah.
Although they've gotten more aggressive, I feel like.
Yeah.
But he goes by Electric Mantis. He's great.
Yeah.
You should follow him. Cool guy. We'll put it in a great.
He's a respected gamer. He has a huge gamer score online.
Does he?
No.
Oh.
But I mean, he's fucked me up in Call of Duty. I started following some of Wyatt's friends and some of like the people that like Patu interacts with, and it's all these like like younger producers who are so fucking talented, and it's so cool, and they're also really funny. And I don't make music myself, but if I did, I would be like, fuck, man, these like younger kids are just like gunning for it's super cool. And congrats to them for being super talented and also funny, and having fun on the internet, which is what we all want to do.
Nice.
Which is really hard to do.
It is.
Yeah.
Patu is a producer I really like because he's taking elements that are familiar, lo-fi hip hop via J Dilla, jazz piano. He's making it his own unique thing. And someone I think who's another producer who's also doing that is G Jones. And I've known about and respected G. Do you know G Jones?
I do not.
You would really like G Jones. He just put out this track called Time, which is like, it's like 7 minutes long. It's a long track, especially for like a dance track. And I don't even know if you call it dance. It's more like a sound design experience. It's under the guise of EDM. I feel like kind of like it's a DJ bass music track. He's someone who's doing something who's really unique to him, and it's really just standing out to me. And he's been around forever, but I feel like he's finally got it now, and people are really, really paying attention. And bigger people who have been credited with just that and succeeding with doing their own thing and building really big worlds. Yeah. No pun intended, but Porter Robinson with Virtual Self is now bringing him on tour, which makes a lot of sense because I think I like tweeted not too long ago that he was the Porter Robinson of bass music. G Jones was, and I stand by that. I think he is.
Yeah.
Just because he's doing something super unique. More on that thread is, I think there's a lot of producers that are doing that. And it's making me really excited about music right now. Patu was obviously one of them. G Jones, one of them. This guy, Dylan Brady.
Dylan Brady.
Good
guy.
Dude.
I think I met him once or twice.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think at Lil Aaron's house.
Oh, sick.
I think, yeah.
Probably. That would make sense.
I'm always drunk when I'm there.
I think they roll together.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, Dylan Brady, he's out there, man. But Dylan is he's taking like super distorted vocals and distorted guitars and really using distortion as an artistic tool instead of just something that inhibits you. And just like almost like painting music with distortion. I feel like that's a really good way to describe Dylan Brady. There's all these sort of like producers sort of fluttering around dance music because dance music is what I feel like have brought producers to the forefront of being artists themselves. Like prior to dance music, if you were a producer, you'd just be the producer of that music. But now you see, on NBA YoungBoy's thing, it says produced by Kenny Beats, or something will say produced by Diplo. Whereas like prior to dance music, I don't think that was as much of a thing, because I think
Yeah, I'd
producers
agree
are
with that.
kind of becoming their own thing. And, you know, for a while it was just dance music and that's it. But now people are starting to stretch their legs and get more into other spaces. And it's kind of like made me have like a new appreciation and like discovery process for all of these other genres of music that I think are made sonically better because people are starting to become their own producers and be better at production.
Yeah.
I actually have no idea whether or not they produce their own music, but Jungle is a band that I heard recently and I've seen everywhere. And the reason I kind of got on the topic of Jungle through that was that Jaguar Dreams is basically that. They're producers who had a need to produce a more mature sound, or what they were growing into, with like the producers getting more recognition. You find these producers are starting to say, well, hold up. Now that we're getting more recognition, we can start other projects. Like we can venture into other spaces because we can be our own producer, with like Chet and Chaz doing something like Cherry Surf, or with, like the Jaguar Dreams project, like Niles Rodgers and like Chic, like, or like Chromeo, or like Phoenix, it's sort of like Justice. It has nothing to do with any of this besides the fact that she's amazing and put out a new project, but Julian Baker. Julian Baker, yes?
Yeah. I'm familiar slightly.
Me and
Only
Chaz
because you and Chaz
love Julian Baker.
Yeah.
She is sort of like become the new guard of what Dashboard Confessional was. She's making very, I don't want to use the word simple, but sort of stripped down songwriting that's predominantly just very sad. But she's so fucking good at it. And all of her songs are just so amazing. And she has a project that was sort of like this like super group with Phoebe Bridgers.
Phoebe's a funny name.
Phoebe.
If you really think about it. Phoebe.
Nice comment.
E-beef is backwards. That would be Phoebe backwards. E-beef.
I just remembered that you had that. What's Phoebe Bridgers backwards? Spell Phoebe Bridgers backwards.
SEGDIRBEBEOHP.
God, that's amazing. I love that. Eric has this amazing talent where he can spell anything backwards. Watch.
But we don't talk about it.
We're going to talk about it right now. Expedition.
NYTIDEPXE.
Incredible.
You can check that.
I don't need to. I'm
telling the fans at home.
It's like you were a genius, a boy genius.
It's just selective dyslexia, I think, is what it is.
It is. But Boy Genius is the name of the supergroup.
Oh, right.
Nice.
Yes.
Right? You like that?
That was epic.
That was good. That was epic.
That
But yeah, it's Julian Baker, Lucy Dacus, who I don't know who that is, and Phoebe Bridgers put together a supergroup called Boy Genius. And then they put out a 3-track EP. Honestly, didn't hit me as much as Julian Baker's original work. And that's fine because it's different. It's not as stripped down. It's more produced out.
Mm-hmm.
But it almost like reminded me of, do you remember Monsters of Folk?
No.
It was like Jim James or Yim Yames from My Morning Jacket.
Yes.
Yeah, Yim Yames from My Morning Jacket.
The band that goes,
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly who they are.
I do really enjoy them.
And Connor Oberst from Bright Eyes. And I think one of the other members from Bright Eyes, and then like I think Ben Gibbard from Dashboard were all like came together. I might be wrong about Ben Gibbard. But I think that, but Jim James and Connor Oberst are definitely in it. They all came together and did this like super group. But it's good to see an all-female group. And it's nice to hear their perspective. Did you have any closing thoughts?
Give a shout out to my friend Alyssa, who sent me this shirt, and she's super talented and young and super cool. Shout out Alyssa. buy her clothes.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna put the link below.
No, it's actually gonna go above. It'll go
We're gonna
right
put
here.
the link above.
Yeah.
Who else? Shout out Chaz.
Nice.
Dude's sick.
Madoka.
Yeah.
There's always other stuff we can talk about, Eric, and we'll figure that out as it comes, I guess. But I guess we'll just we'll have to circle back about it.